ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately. First, I would like to get to know you. I'll be back. Who are you?
You son of a bitch.
Where is she?
You bastards!
What's your real name? Yes, I would like to have a refund.
I have only one more question.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Werewolf Fury build guide for Diablo Clone in Project Diablo 2 Season 2 Transcendence. Just as a disclaimer, I do not recommend this build if you are trying to farm Annies from Diablo Clone. It's quite difficult. The melee mechanics of the fight can be quite intensive, and you'll probably have to try a couple times, as you see I did, before you finally get the mechanics down of the fight. But hopefully this build guide will help you through it and give you a better chance at defeating Diablo Clone. So stats, again, enough strength to wear your equipment, no points into dexterity, and the rest into vitality, no points into energy. Our skill tree, elemental skills none, shapeshifting, max lycanthropy, max werewolf, max feral rage, 1 point into rabies as it's the prerequisite for fury, and max fury. Summoning, a little bit different than our build guide from before, which I'll leave in the description down below. But we need to have 1 point into Grizzly because the Grizzly provides a little bit of a distraction for Diablo Clone, and even 1 second of a distraction can make or break your fight, as you saw in the video. But yeah, so just to have your Grizzly ready in case you need a quick distraction for Diablo. Our inventory, so we're still using the same weapon as before, 100 increased attack speed so we can reach our maximum breakpoint. Soul Drainers for the minus enemy physical resistance and also monster defense per hit. Raven Frost, 10% cold absorb and cannot be frozen. Verdungos for the PDR, this one is corrupted with cold resistance. Nature's Peace, so we need to increase our maximum cold res and fire res to as much as we can basically, so we've got 3 and 3 here. That's why we wear Hotspurs for the 10% increase to maximum fire res and as well as 45% fire resistance. Which brings us to our armor. This is a shaft stop. It's got 30% PDR, which is great. I've put an rune in it for some resistance. It gives you life. And also there's a Vex rune in there, again, to increase our maximum fire resistance. Which brings us to our helmet, which is the Crown of Ages. 3 open sockets, Ohm, Vex, so 8% maximum cold res and 4% maximum fire res. There's also PDR and some resistances on it. Our amulet for fighting is the Metal Grid. Gives you resistance and attack rating, which is great for the fight. Probably the best in slot for a melee character when you're trying to fight Diablo Clone. Our charms are just various resistance life charms. and some shape-shifting skillers, excuse me, an Annie and a Torch. So basically, I've subbed out most of my shape-shifting skillers for life and resistance charms. You'll need as much survivability as possible, and that's how you're going to get it. On Switch, just a CTA and a Lidless, and I've got a shape-shifting skiller Ami just for the initial shift into werewolf form. So basically what I do is I put on the shape-shifting Ami, I go into the fight, I BO, shapeshift into werewolf form, bring my metal grid back on, and enter the fight. And as you can see, with all my equipment, I've got 138 of a possible 96% fire res, which is 95 capped. Cold res 93, almost at the 95, but good enough. And lightning resistance is up there too. You need to have as much lightning resistance as possible to defend yourself from his lightning breath. So basically, I break this Diablo Clone fight down into 3 parts. Part 1 is the warm-up. He basically shows you some of his moves, but it's not very intense, and it ends pretty quick, especially since you have quite a bit of crushing blow on your weapon. The end of the first part is signaled by the first Bale Wave. So the Bale Wave is something you've definitely got to avoid. There's 5 of them, and each wave does incremental damage. So basically what I do is I run behind a pillar and hide, and during the time when he's activated his Bale Wave, he's actually invincible. There's a Sanctuary aura underneath him, so yeah, just run away. After the first Bale Wave, it goes into part 2, which is the main fight. The battle becomes more intense, the souls are doing more work, shooting more meteors at you, there's more bone spirits coming as well, and it's the longest portion. After you've completed part 2, Diablo Clone releases another Bale Wave, the second Bale Wave. Again, he's invincible because of the Sanctuary aura, so run behind a pillar and hide. After that, we enter the last part of the fight, which is part 3, the final showdown. He basically throws everything he's got at you, including the kitchen sink. The souls become super aggressive with bone spirits and meteors, and it's quite intense. But basically you're fighting for survival here and try to get as much damage in there as possible. I would say try to save as much rejuvenation potions as you can for this last part of the fight, because it's the critical portion, as you'll see in the video following. So with that, let's jump into an example of the Diablo Clone fight, and this time I will talk you through it and hopefully give you some tips and hints to help you defeat Diablo Clone. Yeah, thank you. Alright, so jumping right in. Make sure your inventory is full of juvies. Cast that BO. Werewolf form, swap out the necklace, and begin the fight. Throw down a war cry there to lower his defenses. The firestorm on the ground doesn't do as much damage as you would think because our fire resistance is up to 95 plus. And you can see part 1 of the fight goes very quick. There's the first Bale Wave. Go behind the pillar and try to hide. Also try to dodge the meteors as they come down. There's 5 Bale Waves. First phase is over. You can see him running around tapping the souls with Fury. This is to charge up the Fury Orb so I can move faster, get more life leech. Meteors on the ground, firestorms on the ground. Try to find your opening in there so you can get in and attack him. The other thing you want to avoid is if he does his lightning breath. If he shoots his lightning breath directly at you, what I would suggest is just to run away. But as you can see here, I could basically tank his melee shots and the firestorm on the ground. There's the lightning breath. Run away from that. Refill your rejuvenation potions into your belt. Run, run, run. Tap a couple souls. Cast that Wisp Projector. There, the Bone Spirit hits me, but that's okay. Because our resistance is to fire up so high, and our PDR, we can tank most of the damage except for that. Run away from that. Lightning Breath is probably the bane of my existence. Avoid the meteors. You can see the spots on the ground, so just run and avoid them. There's not much you can do about the bone spirits, however. Continue the fight. Trying to do as best as I can here, but we're almost about to enter the second, or finish the second stage. There it is. There's the second Veil Wave. Hide behind the pillar. Take this time to refill your juvies. And remember, we've still got a bunch more in our cube, which we'll definitely put into use later. Tap the souls to stack up our fury. Cast another wisp. Get that BO in again. Warcry him. Start stage 3. So you can see him periodically moving side to side here. This is sort of a preemptive dodge of any lightning breath, and to just kind of activate his animations a little bit so I can tell what's coming next. But you can see here he's being pretty calm, just doing some melee attacks, but the souls are doing quite a bit of damage. Here comes Yoshi into the game for his 15 seconds of fame. Apologies, Yoshi, but nobody actually watches my videos. So continuing with stage 3. Lightning Breath again, refill on the juvies. Get more from this cube. Sorry, Yoshi, but this is a one-player battle. Continuing with stage 3, this is the toughest part. You can see there's more and more meteors coming on the ground. He's still being quite tame by just hitting me with melee attacks. PDR is quite effective in this fight. Almost half of his damage is fire and the other half is physical damage. So as we keep going, you can see Lightning Breath again. Bone Spirits I'm trying to dodge as well. You basically want to leave some openings where you can get in and melee him without having fire all over the ground. So I'm just moving around, adjusting to the different places where I know I can get into him without taking too much damage. Running a little bit low on juvies right now, so I'm getting a little bit nervous. Run away and pop some more pots into our belt. And you see we're almost out, but this is, as I said before, our last stand, so we've got to try our best to get everything in on him and see if we can kill him. Another Warcry, get into a spot where I can hit him from the side. Bone Spirits, meteors coming from everywhere. Find an angle into there so you can melee him. Periodically also tap him with the Feral to make sure that the 20-second cooldown hasn't reset. And let's see, we're getting pretty close now. This is when the adrenaline starts pumping. Try to be as conservative as you can with the pots. Remember, you don't have much more, or I don't have much more at this time. Meteors coming, Lightning Breath. Just the last few pots here. Another Wisp Projector. Dodge the meteors. Throw one more Warcry on him. Periodically tap the souls to increase our Feral. Correction Fury. And this is when we basically go in for our final melee sequence on him. Once again, dodging the fire on the ground, but really here he's 360 degrees surrounded by fire. Just try your best. Avoid the lightning breaths. And looks like we're done.